What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. We got some major news coming in here today. Let's go over a lot of different things here. So, number one, it looks like the voting here for the Speaker of the House here, Jim Jordan for the Republicans, has failed. Has failed. So they will have to have more votes here, as Jim Jordan, the Republican representatives, did not get enough votes to secure the votes for Speaker of the House. The same thing we've seen for Kevin McCarthy, as the divided states of America, the United States of America, it does not seem like we are united. We're seeing this with the Republican Party. We're seeing this with the Democrats and the Republicans cannot see eye to eye. The Republicans can't even see eye to eye. And this is what other countries are seeing of us, the United States. It seems like this more than ever. And this is a very important time for our country, with two major world wars going on right now, and the United States supporting them right now. Yeah, you got to kind of think about this right now. The United States is supposed to be supporting Israel, a longtime ally of the United States, and also United States is supporting Ukraine and NATO as well, 30 plus other countries, and yet we can't even agree amongst ourselves. Think about this. Americans can't even agree amongst themselves on what to agree with. They can't even pick a leader. We have an impeachment inquiry on our own president, and we impeached our former President Donald Trump, twice. Think about this. Think about the message that we are sending to other countries right now. And honestly, I think whoever the next president is going to be, the likelihood that we will impeach the next president, no matter who it is, very, very high. I think that there will be a probable impeachment on President Biden here before the next election in the House of Representatives, because remember, the Republicans can do that with only Republican votes. I think that is very, very high that will happen here within the next year, within the next 12 months before the next election, because they're going through that right now. The problem is the Republicans got to get their own house in order and even elect a leader to the speakership to their own Republican Party here before they can even kind of go through with stuff like that, let alone try to impeach somebody from the other party. They got to elect a leader to their own party in the Republican House. Just kind of think this stuff through here. And you got people from other parties right now, other governments like this happening here today. Putin visits his, quote, dear friend, Chinese President Xi, in Beijing, as Ukraine reports overnight strikes. Yeah, so you look at like the, quote, enemies of the United States: Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea, and they're laughing at the United States. The turmoil the United States is in, this is exactly what they want. They want the United States to be in misery, in chaos, can't agree on anything, and fighting amongst themselves. As Putin and President Xi meet for China's Belt and Road Forum in Beijing, Putin and Xi described their relationship between their countries as, quote, having no limits and no forbidden areas of cooperation, in a statement in February 2022, saying the country's deepest ties in recent years. And President Biden says he's going to be going to Israel tomorrow, which is a very dangerous proposition. It's literally a war zone there right now. I don't know if this is the best of decisions right now. Also, Ukraine President Zelensky wanted to go to Ukraine. Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu actually declined the offer. This is probably a good idea because to muddy the waters with Ukraine into Israel, those are two different wars, and those are two different political battlefields. And I don't think it's the right idea to have Ukraine and Israel mixed together. um, you guys can let me know your thoughts here on this. And it was probably the right decision for Israel to do this, although we have NATO supporting both. Israel said it's not the right time to do this. We're literally defending our country from missile strikes, surprise missile strikes that came out of nowhere. People hit at a music festival, and you know we we're fighting for our lives here. So just let us think about what's going on here right now. And we're trying to go get these military terrorists that are still attacking us. We're attacking them. There's just think about the chaos going on there right now. And like imagine if you're the prime minister there and this just a week ago, 2,000 missiles were attacked, and yeah, you shot some down. Obviously, a lot didn't get shot down out of the first day, and it's just an absolute nightmare. It's just an absolute nightmare. And now the ground attack has obviously the invasion into Gaza has been stalled. We have not really seen this happen yet, and people are starting to wonder, will this even happen now? Missile attacks are going back and forth, and they're wondering, is this the right decision? The problem here is that, they have hostages there, and Hamas is still there. The other question here is that, do you just let Hamas stay there? Do you go back and try to get Hamas? Do you just let them go? Do you let them stay? What is the right decision to do here? If you just let them be, they could attack you again. You know, this is the problem that they're contemplating right now. The other question here is similarly is, will Iran and Hezbollah go into this war? And how deep will they go into this war if Israel invades Gaza? And how will the world perceive this? Obviously, Hamas attacked Israel, and with 2,000 missiles just on the first day. What's strange here is the propaganda that you're already starting to hear from pro-Russian channels and anti-American channels that is already trying to turn the propaganda against Israel and trying to make Israel out to be the bad guy and make them look like the bad guy. Remember, they were attacked first out of the blue. Okay, these 2,000 missiles that came out of the blue, they're trying to blame Israel for this. Okay, so you got to remember here that you guys can let me know your thoughts on this, but this is where going forward, it's going to be difficult to navigate these waters. And this is where war gets very, very tricky. And this is where Russia and their propaganda and these pro-Russian propaganda channels and Russia and Putin have been very, very successful with their propaganda as well. Russia saying they didn't start the war, even saying they didn't invade Ukraine, saying Ukraine started the war. I mean, just think, if you even think about this stuff rationally, it's like, and a lot of people believe this, that Ukraine started the war and Russia didn't invade Ukraine. Like literally, Russia still says this stuff today, they didn't invade Ukraine. They didn't start the war. And there's literally still there today in Ukraine shooting apartment buildings, shooting at civilians, shooting at, I mean, literally on a daily basis, you can see headlines that say, 50 civilians, 100 civilians killed in Ukraine. I mean, it literally happens all the time. And Russia says, oh, we're not doing this. This isn't us. And it's like, how can you even believe this stuff? So this is where like the propaganda and the fake news of today is the propaganda of the other side is a very, very tricky situation. And this is where Israel actually has to be very careful here. And this is where Vladimir Putin is actually already criticizing Israel. And this is going to be a tricky one because with Israel now retaliating against the initial attack from Hamas, and people wondering who actually funded Hamas in the first place, which a lot of people think was Iran or Russia, Vladimir Putin. They got to be very careful here because I can already see it now here going forward that and Vladimir Putin already criticizing Israel, already likening them to Germany in World War II. Let me show you here. Here is the headline: Netanyahu speaks with Putin. And according to this article right here, Putin has been extremely critical of Israel in his statements since Hamas's October 7 onslaught, even making implicit comparisons between Israel and the German army in World War II. Putin knows exactly what he's doing. He's comparing Israel to the Germans in World War II, which is strangely ironic because it's the worst comparison ever. Germany was persecuting Jewish people, okay? Persecuting Jewish people. You can't compare Israelis and Jewish people to the people that were getting persecuted by Germans, okay? Germans were persecuting the Jewish people. You can't compare Jewish people to the people that were getting persecuted in Germany. And yet this propaganda somehow goes on here today, and people get fooled by this stuff. And this is what's going to happen here in the coming weeks and the coming months, depending on how long this war lasts. And if Israel goes to seek retaliation, or how much they do, especially if they actually go into Gaza, be aware of what the sediment is going to be here. Remember, they got attacked first by Hamas, and it's going to be a very interesting point of view of how the world perceives this. It's going to be a very tricky point of view for everybody to how it's conceived. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments. And fighting terrorism is a very, very tricky thing to do. But on the other hand, when people attack you with thousands of missiles, arguably worse than what happened in 9/11, because that was some guys that jumped into a plane. It was more likened, this attack here in Israel was more likened to what happened in Pearl Harbor, because that was a more strategic attack with thousands of planes. This was a more coordinated attack. The other thing I want to talk about here is a lot of these, propaganda channels, because there's a lot of them out there, right? The thing here is that the new trend right now is that all of these attacks here over the course of decades are all fake news, and that they're all conspiracy theories. Have you seen this now? That 9/11 was fake, Pearl Harbor was fake, JFK was fake, and you're starting to hear all these things in history all of them were fake. Have you guys started to notice that? That's the new propaganda theme here nowadays. That's the new conspiracy theory theme nowadays. You guys can let me know your thoughts on this. But I have a feeling that there's a lot of people getting paid from other sources out there, other countries that have lots and lots of money. Just my thoughts. You can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe down below. Click the bell icon so you don't miss out on any new details coming out here on a daily basis. Don't forget to like and share these videos. Click here to see what the US is about to do and Israel could be a game changer. Or click here to watch my newest video next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.